Okay, what I'm trying to get people to see, and actually what a lot of people that have subscribed to the channel are seeing, is that in the whole fixing of the 2021 season was a coordinated um, attempt. I say attempt. It was not just an attempt. It was a coordinated effort, and that is exactly what they did. So you have the structure of the sport, which is effectively Liberty Media own the commercial rights to it. So they employ the likes of Sky Sports F1 to be the contracted broadcasters, and they make sure that Sky Sports F1 broadcast it in a certain way. You've also got F1 TV, so you can either subscribe to F1 TV or look on places like YouTube and see their presentations. You've then got motorsport publications, so they will explain it in their words, and you've got um, mainstream media that then just parrot that narrative. Nobody is actually breaking the situation down and exposing reality. They're all complying with the same bullshit narrative, and this is when you actually start realizing this, because I didn't realize this initially. Initially, I I had blind faith. Initially, I thought that whilst I was aware that as we go through life, um, the things that you see and hear being presented are often got a slant on them based on the political persuasion of the media company presenting it. I realised that many years ago, but I actually thought there was some degree of authenticity within media, and I felt that by everything that I knew I was right about, everything that I knew I was seeing was not being reflected in what was being reported in the media. So I decided that I was going to contact the media and say, you're missing out these key elements here, and these are the crux of the matter which nobody's actually addressing. And I contacted every source of media that I could find contact details for. I received virtually no replies other than standard replies saying, oh, yeah, it's been received by our inbox. That's about it. Um, and then nothing was ever reported in the right manner. And as time goes on, and the more you see, the more you realise that this notion of being able to complain to media and then them expose and report truth is utter bollocks. It's utter bollocks because all they'll do is they will just report what it is they're being paid to report. And that's what they do. And this is a coordinated thing. They're all doing it the same way. They're all saying the same things. They're all saying the same things. And it's what you've watched in Abu Dhabi was entirely wrong, and none of them are exposing that. Now, if you've just watched something, if you've just watched a robbery, and in real life, you've seen a crime take place in real life with your own eyes, and then people start talking about it, you talk about what you've just seen, what was wrong about it. They're not talking about that. Now, this one, F1 Live, this is the Formula One YouTube channel, 9.8 million subscribers. This video, the post-race show, done on the day, 2.2 million views after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, 47,000 likes. This is the number of minds that they can influence. This is the amount of conditioning that they can have to condition people's beliefs. Now, it's an hour and 6 minutes long. I'm not going to go through an hour and 6 minutes of it because clearly, with my analysis as well, that will take it into a 10-hour video. So I'm going to break it down in little 10-minute sections or so, and we'll go through from the start, and you'll just see they just don't focus on any crux of any matter, and it's just wrong. Anyway, I'm just going to fast forward um, the introductory fluff, and then as soon as they start the presentation, we'll get into the analysis of it. So it's live with Will Buxton. Now, if any of you have seen Drive to Survive, you'll know who this prick is. If you haven't, you may not. But have a look and you'll see what's going on here.
Oh boy. Well, I don't think I've ever seen a Formula One season concluded like that. Hello, folks. Welcome to F1 Live, your post-race show with me, Will Buxton, and I am absolutely delighted to welcome back our friend Jack Aitken. Mate, first of all, it is so good to see you fighting fit and healthy and back in the car this weekend. It's great to see you, man. It's been a whole year.
It's great to be back. Thanks, man. Yeah, I've missed you.
I missed you too, buddy.
Oh, lovely little bromance, eh? We're seeing this all the time, you know, a little circle jerk between the cool dudes, aren't we?
What a finale. What have we just seen?
I mean, could the championship have ended any other way than with absolute drama from start to finish?
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Incredible. We've just witnessed corruption, and you're just saying, oh, how incredible that was.
Move for the lead on the last lap, being released from the safety car, means that Max Verstappen not only wins the race, but wins the 2021 Formula One World Championship. Just an astonishing way to end this season. Let's have a little rundown of the results at the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Look at the way they're talking about it. You know, they're talking about it with positivity as though, oh, it's incredible. It was corrupt.
Which has seen Max Verstappen take the win, take the points, take the title away from Lewis Hamilton. An absolutely incredible result. An absolutely astonishing race.
Incredible, astonishing.
Hamilton second. Carlos Sainz a brilliant third to cap off a wonderful first season.
A brilliant third. Well, this guy wasn't even in the fight for first and second because he was held back.
With Ferrari, then Yuki Tsunoda, his best ever result in Formula One in fourth. Pierre Gasly is fifth. Then it's Bottas, Norris, Alonso and Ocon. And Charles.
Bottas, Norris. Look at the time difference there. How did that time difference occur over just one lap? Whenever we started a race after a safety car incident before, and in just one lap, the gap between 6th and 7th has become 50 odd seconds. Oh, it was incredible.
Leclerc rounding out the top 10. Behind them all in P11, it was Sebastian Vettel. Daniel.
Again, how come somebody's been lapped within a lap of a restart? Incredible.
Ricciardo P12, Lance Stroll P13, Mick Schumacher 14th, Sergio Perez P15, despite the fact he did actually DNF from the race. Then Nicholas Latifi, Giovinazzi, Russell and Raikkonen all DNF'd. Nikita Mazepin did not take the start of the race after testing positive for COVID. And as if by magic, while Jolyon Palmer has appeared. Hello, chaps. Mate, as Jack has just said, I mean, the season couldn't really have ended any other way, could it?
I nipped to the loo. What happened? Missed the last lap.
You missed quite.
Crazy. Hey everybody, let's just trivialise this.
A bit, my friend, quite a bit.
It was drama, wasn't it? And I don't know, the race.
No, let's not talk about drama. Let's expose. This is outrageous.
This was a little bit underwhelming until that point, but you just thought.
The race was underwhelming until that point. You know, this is Formula One. Some races aren't exciting. Some races are dominated by certain drivers. You can take the 2023 season, for example. Many of those races were underwhelming. If one car gets out in the lead and the other cars don't catch him, it's underwhelming, unlucky.
But this is 2021. Something wild is going to happen, and you couldn't quite have scripted that, could you? I mean, the two.
Yep, because they did.
Side by side last lap, bit of FIA in there as well, and safety.
A bit of FIA in there as well. What?
Car or not, and lap cars going through or not. Drama.
And lapped cars going through or not. Look at the way they're talking about this. You know, this is the way that they are just talking about this to the public to make people think, oh yeah, this is how you talk about Formula One. Yeah, is this happening or not? Do they know what they're doing or not? You know, it's validation. All it does is normalise this in the heads of the brain-dead fans. That's all you're doing. You're conditioning with this style of presentation.
Drama.
Totally. But a wonderful conclusion. Max Verstappen, they'll have a word for him, first of all.
A wonderful conclusion.
What a drive him today. Actually, that guy there who's just walked through the picture, an amazing drive by Sergio.
Oh, look over there, everybody. Divert your attention to something else.
Perez as well. But Max Verstappen, the drive that he put in today clearly didn't have the speed of the Mercedes.
Yeah, which is a bit surprising given his qualifying performance yesterday. I think we were all caught a little bit out by the sheer margin that he was on pole by, but that clearly wasn't the case today. And we had an inkling from Friday that the Mercs would be strong on the long pace, but yeah, still, it was a bit disappointing to see them slipping away again and again from Hamilton.
But when the moon came,
it was disappointing to see them slipping away from Hamilton. Disappointing for who? For the strap-on fans. Unlucky. You know, if the Red Bull isn't as fast as the Merc, then that's one of the things. If Lewis drove it better, if in those practice sessions the focus for the Mercedes was getting that car set up so that it would be best set up for accomplishing what it needed to accomplish, which was picking up the points, which you do in a Grand Prix, not in qualifying. Okay, it's not about necessarily landing on pole position at this Grand Prix. It is at Monaco, because if you can't overtake, pole position is all you need, and as long as you get yourself in front, you pretty much win the race. That's the nature of Monaco. But a lot of circuits where overtaking is possible, you want to optimize your ability to get that car home first over 190 miles, not just do one fast lap. So, you know, if Red Bull aren't able to do that, optimize their car to finish first over 190 miles and just try to optimize it for one lap, well, unlucky. You're taking the wrong approach there, aren't you? You're taking the wrong approach because you're setting yourselves up to perform in something that is not what you're actually competing in. It's like Usain Bolt running a marathon. Well, you know, we respect you, Usain Bolt, for all that you are. But if you want to win a marathon, you don't train for the 100 metres. It ain't going to win you a marathon, is it?
he took his moment, put the move on. It was a thrilling final lap. Lewis tried with all he could to try and take that position right back at the end, but just couldn't quite get it done.
It's a little bit
Lewis couldn't quite get it done.
stuffed at that point, really, because he was on the really old hard tyre. Yeah. At no point could he pit because he'd lose the track position to Max. Maybe in hindsight, he should have just lost the track position to Max and pitted. But
again, what we doing? Maybe we should have done this. Maybe we should have done that. Again, what we're doing with throwing in all this notion of, oh, this could have happened, that could have happened. Nobody's focusing on the fact that what did happen was entirely wrong.
You never know then if the safety car goes to the end of the race, Latifi's...
You never know. Well, how would you know? Well, you'd look at the rules and what the rules dictate. They are always presenting these things as though it was a discretionary decision. They're making out that certain decisions within Formula One are like a refereeing decision, like a judgment call in the sport of football. They're not judgment calls. The regulations in certain sports are sets of procedures that need to be enacted before you can resume the sport. And that's different to a judgment call. Totally different. And that's why they're called regulations as opposed to rules in terms of sporting rules. They're regulations, things that must take place before you resume sporting competition.
The car was in pieces. Are they going to be able to clear it quickly? And then you just pit and the race finishes on a safety car and Mercedes would look pretty silly. So they didn't have a lot of choice. It was really tough. And on the hard tyres against Max, knowing that he has to come through to win the championship on a new soft, that's a tough way to defend. And it was brilliant how they went.
And at what point are you saying it should never have taken place? It should never have taken place.
Side by side for so long, fairly as well.
I'm going to fast forward this bit because I think by using their footage, even when I've tried to use their footage when I've done other videos, they block this being published. So I'm going to just fast forward the racing action. Okay, we're back to here now. I might have missed a few words, but here we go.
He knows that if there's contact and Lewis turns in, he's champion. If he goes for it and Lewis opens...
And there you go. Let me just see if I can rewind that because...
It really was. But he knows as well.
Here we go.
He knows that if there's contact and Lewis turns in, he's champion. if he goes for it and Lewis opens the door, he's champion, so he has to just go for it at the earliest opportunity.
So what they're saying is there, just by giving Max one lap, that's all you need. Get him close to Lewis within one lap, and all Max has to do is throw it. Because either way, there's either going to be a crash and Max wins, or Lewis has to yield so that there's no crash and Max wins. Ultimately, Max was going to win that. Because if Lewis hadn't, you can say whatever you like, right? You can say whatever you like. Lewis was not going to win that last lap. Max was either going to overtake him or crash him out of the race. And the best thing Lewis did was avoid being crashed out of the race. Because now what it proves is, had he been crashed out of the race, there'd have been less controversy. They'd have got away with it. So far they've still got away with it, but we can pick this down and break it down and scrutinise it even further by doing it this way. And actually what we've proven is Lewis did complete the race distance. Lewis did make it to the end of the race. There would have been no alternative but for it to be a safety car finish, and Lewis completed that distance. So there is no alternative other than Lewis Hamilton win. So, anyway.
Because you sort of thought the next place is going to be the best chance at turn 6, but you can't wait when there's only one lap to go, 10 corners to go. You've got to send it as soon as you can.
Now, originally, Jack,
You've got to send it as soon as you can. So what you're advocating is a style of motor racing where you just throw your car at another car and hope for the best, and if you crash, you crash. That's what you F1 TV, that's what you Formula 1 are saying is a valid tactic in Formula 1. That's what the sport is saying is a valid tactic in the sport. You know what, you've just got to do it, you've just got to throw your car at the other car, and either they get out of the way or there's a crash, but you've got to do it. That's heinous. That is absolutely heinous.
said that the lap cars were not going to be allowed through. Max wasn't very happy about that. On the radio said, typical, of course, they're not going to be allowed through, which meant he would have had to pass them all on the last lap.
It doesn't mean that he'd have had to pass them all on the last lap. You can't go racing. Unfortunately, they're playing the footage and probably going to miss out on their analysis. Let's see.
And suddenly, they let them through. Safety car ends, and it all sets it up. And here it is, the lap.
Obviously, as soon as that decision, the first decision was asking why has that decision been made, this is, not the regular procedure. Of course, the stewards are well within their right to make that decision.
It's not the regular procedure, it's not the stewards that are making that decision. Okay, the clerk of the course is the person that's in charge of the track safety. At the point in time where that decision was made to not release lap cars, it was because the track wasn't safe. There's still marshals on the track, so the clerk of the course is not going to declare the track safe, hand back to the race director for him to carry out the procedure, and that unlapping procedure. So therefore, at the point in time where they want to release the lapped cars in order to get that race going again, they can't because it's not safe to do so. This was on lap 56. That had to be the lap that they were released on. The course wasn't safe. The track wasn't safe. We saw that with our own eyes as they passed that turn 14 on lap 56, which means by which stage the last of those safety car snake cars passed that incident at turn 14, Hamilton was starting lap 57, so the earliest it was possible to release the lapped cars was on lap 57, which meant lap 58 is a safety car. Okay, that's just the simplicity of it, and none of these will say that. Instead, they're just talking shit, but the audience doesn't know that they're talking shit, and the audience is just accepting of their words and their validation.
Decision, and they both knew how critical that was going to be for Max to get to Lewis in time to make that move, and for it to come so late, because it was 2 or 3 seconds afterwards that they said safety car ending. Yeah, that was interesting.
It was interesting. But look at what you're seeing here, right? You're seeing three guys on the TV, microphones in their hands, living a life where they're paid probably a decent salary to go around the world to these sporting events and talk. What is their integrity, their actual knowledge, or their ability to drill down to the crux of the problem and educate people? Well, all that they're talking about is bollocks. If you are a TV broadcaster, are you educating an audience, or are you conditioning that audience with what you want them to believe the situation to be? And what role are these three doing? I'll tell you, because some of the people that watch this channel won't understand. These three that you are seeing now are just feeding you with a version of events that the sport wants you to believe. They are feeding you with a version of events that they want you to believe, and you have believed it, because everything you hear is saying the same thing. Brundle and Crofty and all of those at Sky Sports F1 are saying the same thing. The BBC, Andrew Benson, is saying the same thing. Autosport, Motorsport, the publications where you might go and read about motorsport, they're saying the same thing. F1 TV is saying the same thing. YouTube channels, these fluffer boys that have made up the big YouTube channels that Formula One reaches out to, okay, pats them on the head and goes, there, you be a good boy, you say the things that we want you to say, and we'll send you the perks, okay? We'll send you the perks, and then you can make even more videos and make even more money. Oh, yeah, that seems like a good arrangement. Let's stick with that, shall we? Let's all say the same thing. Let's all say the same thing. And what happens is somebody takes the lead and then the rest parrot it. So Brundle takes the lead. Oh, Brundle's the expert. Brundle doesn't think it's mandatory for the release of the lapped cars. So nobody questions that. Nobody questions that. Nobody gets the rules out and goes, no, you're wrong there, Brundle. You don't think it's mandatory, Brundle. But if it's not mandatory, why in every race since 2012 has he done it? Why has he done that? But you don't think it's mandatory. You know, I'd be asking questions there, because that's what I do. I ask questions. If things don't make sense, I ask why. That's the way my brain works. Some of you just go, oh, okay, you told me that, so yeah, okay, you just said that was how it is, so I'll just nod my head and accept that. And if somebody says something to me that I think, well, what you're saying doesn't correlate with what I'm seeing, I'll explore a bit further and go, well, that doesn't make sense. I'm not so sure that I believe what you're saying there. And then I'll have a look into it. And then I'll understand the underlying implications. And I understood it from a sporting perspective without reading the rules. I understood what was actually going on with that safety car procedure. And the fact that when you're deploying a safety car, it impacts drivers in different ways. And the only way they can go racing is to reset that situation to a zero start point effectively for all cars. That's the only way it's fair to all cars. That's what needs to happen in sport. But Brundle wants to dismiss some of them cars and say, oh, you no longer matter. Just get out of the way. Just get out of the way. And if that was the reason, there's other ways of doing it. You could make those lapped cars move all to the right-hand side of the track and let them drop back. You could send them through the pit lane to get them out. There's much quicker ways of getting them out of the way if getting them out of the way was the purpose. But it's not. It absolutely isn't. And they didn't. The reason it's not the purpose is because look at all the times that they're doing that procedure. They do that procedure that many times for a reason. Look at the number of times Brundle has said the same thing. Oh, are they going to let the lap cars get out of the way? When are we going to see racing? Are they going to do this extra lap of the safety car? I don't think they have to do it. Oh, the safety car stayed out on track. oh, it's not gone in this lap. We're going to see another lap behind the safety car. How many times? That'd be every time. But every time, the fanboys fall for it. Every time that the fanboys are on the edge of their seat going, oh, and now we're going to see the racing. Oh, no, we're not. No, we're not again. Oh, they've done the same procedure again. It's not mandatory. It's an optional procedure, but they do it every time. If I was Brundle, I'd have gone to the race director and go, well, why are you making me look a dickhead? Because each time I'm saying to people, oh, we could get racing, and you never get them racing. Why are you doing this? Well, you know, Brundle, really, don't you? You're being paid to hype the drama up, to keep the fanboys on the edge of their seats, whilst the rest of us, those that use our heads and work shit out, right, those that can actually see things for what they actually are, we just work it out and we don't listen to the bullshit hype. I'm going to call this a day on this particular video for now before getting to the next section of it. But I'm going to break this one down. So I'm going to do several parts of this to break down the bullshit that you were fed in the aftermath of Abu Dhabi from these F1 TV. Right. See you shortly.